got tired of my job. I got tired of my job. I got tired of being broke. And I got tired of not having, I'm like trying to make ends meet. Yes.
$500,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
You got your $500,000 earring.
Yes.
And something happened because you're not there anymore.
No.
Right? So like how did the progression of that happen?
It's hard. It was so hard to recruit me. Matter of fact, it's hard to recruit me. And I know some people do that. Like, and I'm like that in life.
I was trying to support you. I wasn't trying to recruit you, right? I said, nice YouTube video.
You did say that.
Oh, you got to wait 2 years before you recruit. I'm like, my whole thing is like, do you know how to work an iPad? Can you teach someone how to work an iPad?
Right. My first 90 days, I made $0. Like zero. I quit every single day. But my back was against the wall and I just had to make a decision if I'm going to go for this or not. I end up losing my house and losing my vehicle. Even in like my first year.
What company was this? Welcome to my show of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, where we hear from regular people who got tired of living their ordinary lives and were not afraid to make that jump.
You gotta be different. You can't be doing what everyone else is doing. You gotta create action. You gotta create momentum. So I'm looking for demand and I'm looking for mentorship because I wanted to know everything my mentor knew.
People who are just like you and me. Hey, David Price here with another episode of Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things from Orlando, Florida. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and hit that little bell notification so you do get a notification every time we do have a video. I'm super pumped with today's guest. We have Miss Shenna Adams from Mississippi. Welcome, Shenna.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So you just drove here from Mississippi. How was the drive?
Oh my gosh, insane. We'll never do it again. Absolutely not.
Never.
No, it was entirely too long. It should have been like 9 hours, but it was more like 18. For some reason, the men had to stop and use the restroom.
I thought it was supposed to be the women that stopped.
I thought so, but I have no idea what's wrong with these guys.
They don't make them like they used to.
They absolutely do not.
So does that mean you're not coming to Florida anymore? Or you're flying?
Oh, I'm flying always now. First class.
First class.
Yes,
it's the way to fly.
Most definitely.
So awesome. Well, I'm glad you made it. Even though the drive was a little hard.
Yeah.
I'm glad you endured the men.
Well, they probably endured me, so, but it was okay.
Awesome. Well, welcome. How are you liking the weather?
Not bad. Not too hot. The sun is out, which I absolutely love the sun. It gives me positive energy. So it was amazing. It's been amazing so far.
This is the best weather we had all year, so you got really lucky.
That. I can believe that. I'm so sorry. Like the situation's been happening with the storm. But so far so good.
Yeah,
we have pretty nice weather.
The storm came in. It just took the heat away with it. So maybe it's up in New Jersey now, wherever the storm is with the heat.
Definitely not going to New Jersey.
So not going. All right, awesome. So you just had an amazing month. PhaseOne did $189,000 in production, final expense in 1 month.
Yeah.
You have a ton of agents just absolutely crushing it, killing it, breaking records. You're a superstar. Your mentoring and the way you coach agents is amazing. It's amazing to watch, right? And I know you love helping people, right? Because you wouldn't be doing everything you are if you didn't.
Absolutely. I absolutely love our training. I love being able to mentor. I try to train our agents as if I was a brand new agent and what I would like to have. And so it's been pretty exciting so far.
Awesome. Well, I know the Shenna Adams now, right? You know, we got to know each other, I guess 5-6 months now. I think you've been working together for 4 months. I think I was being interrogated for about 2, right?
That sounds about right.
So you know everything about me, my blood type, my favorite color, my sign.
Yeah, absolutely right. I did ask that. I like to get to know someone, especially about making a huge transition.
Yes.
That was a life-changing transition, and I don't think anybody would have done that. Like nobody wouldn't have. And going from the type of income we were earning into now, it was almost going to zero. I definitely had to find out exactly who I'm gonna be dealing with, how the company operates, and if we're gonna be a good match. And so far so good.
Yeah, I understand that because going from making $500,000 last year to saying, you know what, that's great, but I'm just gonna risk it all. Yes, I'm gonna start at zero again, but I think this opportunity is better. But obviously there's a lot of fear with that, a lot of
Mhm.
unknowns.
Right.
And
Well, I knew it was like the bigger the bigger the risk, the greater the reward. So I knew I took a huge risk. We took a huge risk. But I'm usually right when it comes to things like that. It wasn't like a over the night decision. So I've been kind of watching and seeing and paying attention, and then making sure I had confirmation, making sure I was the right decision, making sure it was the right business move, making sure it was nothing personal, taking myself out of it, and making sure that the agents are going to be in a good place. And so I know for a fact this was the best decision ever.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I mean, I was nervous too, right? The last thing I want to do is bring anyone into my organization for them to do worse than they started. My whole thing is I have to be able to provide something and be able to put them in a better position. So yeah, this was the biggest move that I had to do with, and it was stressful for I might not have showed it to you, but in the back of my head, I'm like, man, this has to work. We got to make this work.
Right.
Crunch the numbers and stuff like that. So I'm glad that it didn't just work, but I believe you guys are got to feel like you're ahead of schedule.
Almost definitely. Well, I always think there's room for improvement. But we've been doing some amazing things thus far. Just considering, like I said, we're starting from ground zero, like absolutely from zero to starting off where we are now. I think our numbers doubled. As far as phase one, I think it was almost double. We did like I want to say 124 or something last month, I believe. So, but we're crushing it so far.
That's awesome. That's a huge gain. So, like I said, I know there's Shenna Adams now, but what I'd like to know is the beginning, like the story. Like, how did you become this like amazing, like final expense coach, mentor, just killer in the industry, doing big things and just getting started, right? Because I think you've been doing this about as long as me, about 4 years.
Well, actually, 6 years.
6 years. Okay, we're still babies over here. So, but let's back up. You grew up in Mississippi. What was that like? What kind of household did you live in? Boring.
2-parent household.
Okay.
I'm probably one of the most independent out of my sisters. My parents, they knew I was going to be I'm a survivor. Pretty independent, a go-getter. Went to school like most people. I was a average student. Very average. School was okay. But I knew I wanted to have something more. So went to school, graduated, went to Mississippi State University for nursing. I went there for a trimester though. I tried it, realized I was a little bit slow. I think school's for like smart people and athletes. And so I wasn't necessarily book smart, but I knew how to make money. So dropped out of school, had a couple of kids, and it kind of went downhill. Got married, was in an abusive relationship. And then me and my husband, I left him, got divorced, and here I am raising 3 kids by myself. So I don't think I grew up poor. I knew we wasn't well off. But coming from having 2 incomes to one, non-raising at that time 3 kids, it was hard. Worked at a doctor's office, 9 to 5 like most people. But I had to pull a second job because working when I was at $9 an hour was not enough. So I worked 7 days a week, every single day, no days off, and was bringing like $19,000. And
with 3 kids.
With 3 kids. So it was horrible. So I'm working every day and then no days off and living in the projects and food stamps and welfare, government assistance, and it was insane. I had a situation that came up and I needed some money like fast. And so I asked my parents and they didn't have it. Asked a friend of mine. She was broke. And, they say like you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. And so my friends were broke. So I was broke. But I had a situation. My ex-husband, he took my daughter and like went to California. And I didn't see her for like years later. And I need the $500 to hire an attorney. And so he kind of pretty much kidnapped our baby, and I didn't see her till like 6 months later. So like when I finally got her, I made a decision right then that I never wanted to be broke another day of my life. And I prayed God for a sign, and he showed me insurance. I'm like, I don't even want to do sales. Like I have to talk to people like in real life. And he showed me this insurance thing and absolutely changed my life. Would never go back to do anything else.
I love it. I mean, you're absolutely killing it. I don't see any reason for you to. Like, it's funny when I talk to an insurance agent or somebody, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I had a license, but it lapsed," and like I can't wrap my head around that. Like, how do you let a license to print money lapse?
Oh my gosh. Well, especially for me, I took the test 10 times, failed at 9. I don't think anybody has broken my record. I'm a very competitive person, so please don't pass it as quickly as possible. Most people would have stopped, but I knew and I was determined that I was supposed to have something. I was supposed to be something. I went through what I went through for a reason, and I was supposed to pass that test. So I don't know how anybody will let that thing lapse. It is the hardest thing to do. But yeah, so
that's good. I like, when people I notice that are real good coaches and mentors, like they went through adversity, right? So like failing the test 10 times, or 9 times, you have the ability to, because when people tell me they fail, I've heard of stories of people failing a lot that make a lot of money. I can't, I did pass mine the first time. Doesn't make me smart. I just got lucky. But telling people okay, cool, you failed once. Who cares?
Right.
Take it again.
Right.
Take it again. Just take it to pass. Simple.
Right.
So I love that about you.
Yeah.
You're resilient. So you got your insurance license, but I know you tried a company first and it didn't work out. How long was that? Tell us about that.
So I've been working for this particular company for years. For this particular company, and it was hard. I think what insurance agent fail to realize that they think that this is going to be like a get rich business, that it's going to start off really, really fast. My first 90 days, I made $0, zero. I quit every single day. But I mean, my back was against the wall, and I just had to make a decision if I'm going to go for this or not. I end up losing my house and losing my vehicle. Even in my first year.
What company was this? Was this Lincoln or was this the company before?
No, this was Lincoln.
What was the company before that though?
Old American.
Old American. You did that for 2 months or you said?
Yeah, it was about 3 months or
about
so.
3 months. Okay.
But I did make a lot of money quickly. But I was young. I mean, I was 25. So that was maybe, oh my God, almost 15 years ago.
Right. I'm glad I have it's funny. It's easy to say, man, I wish I found insurance when I'm 25, but I think I would have broke everything. I think I would have messed things up and I probably might have lost my license. So I'm glad I couldn't handle that responsibility.
Right.
With that mindset at 25.
Right.
So 25, 3 months, made some money, and then you just messed everything up.
I just quit.
Okay. All right. Then fast forward later on, you get your license back. And then you join Lincoln.
Yes.
Okay. And then back where you're at. So you lost your house, you lost everything.
Everything. Literally everything. I mean, it's the worst thing. I lost everything. All my kids' clothes, pictures. I don't have any baby pictures, physical baby pictures of them. Just losing, having my kids. Matter of fact, my son called me while I was working out in the field, saying, "Mom, all of our clothes on the side of the road. People picking out our clothes." And it was the worst feeling ever, because I'm trying to do this for them, and we end up staying in this hotel for almost a month. And I promised my kids that I would never put them in a situation again. I would never be broke another day in my life. I'm gonna do as much as I can to make sure that they are in a stable place. And it was hard. It wasn't it wasn't an expensive hotel. I mean the $35 a day hotel. The hotels,
I've been in those hotels. I live in
that
hotel.
Yeah, the worst. And that day I made that decision, and since then I've been able to earn some pretty great income, but not just me. But I've been able to help other women who I know have gone through what I went through, divorce and abuse and being evicted and back against the wall and doing things on their own. That I've been able to help them, help them be placed in a position that they can win.
Yeah, I mean that's your niche. You're obviously super amazing at that, and I love watching that because I grew up in the projects, single mom of 2, food stamps, government assistance, the whole deal.
Right.
Things did get better in my childhood as I got older, but being that young child, it was tough, right? It was a fight for your life every day, right?
Absolutely, every day.
So it's good to that you're helping those people, right? Because that's where we both came from.
Yeah.
But your first you actually had an appointment setting business at one point, right? So that was before you worked with Lincoln.
Before I got with Lincoln.
But was it after your 3 months in insurance?
This was years later. What happened? I got tired of my job. I got tired of being broke, and I got tired of not having. I'm trying to make ends meet. And so I made a decision that I'm just going to quit. I'm going to walk off. I know those people did not value me, even though I've given them 4.5 years of my life. I asked God for a sign. And matter of fact, it was during lunch. And I prayed, which is something I never did at work at all. And I prayed to God, like, God, if you really want me to do this, give me a sign. And so I put an ad on Craigslist about appointment setting. And like anybody want an appointment setter, I put my rates up there. And I went to lunch. And an hour later, I had like 8 people who responded. And I left right afterwards. And I told my boss at the time that when he finally realized I was gone, that I wasn't coming back. And so, matter of fact, one of the top producers at Lincoln was my client. And I didn't realize like who she was really, but she was like the top producer because of my appointment setting skills. And found out, the region director found out that I was booking her appointments, and that kind of
put the hook in,
and reeled me in, and here I am now.
Awesome. So how did you know to be an appointment? Because I didn't even know that's like a thing. How did you know that was a thing?
Well, I started with like an hourly job. Matter of fact, my ex-husband was trying to be an insurance agent.
Okay.
He couldn't pass his test either. That's probably why we did so well together. And
or didn't do so well.
I didn't do so well, actually. And the I guess whoever he hired him on heard my voice and said, "Man, you'd be so good over the phone." I was like, I guess. So I started booking appointments, and I had like the most appointments out of all the people they had on staff, and ended up being supervisor. And I remember like some of the things that helped me get the client on the phone, stay on the phone, book the appointment. And I was like, man, I did so well hourly at $8.25. And that was it. And that didn't last but a few months. It only lasted for a few months. But I remember how well I was. And so I said, well, let me do something. And so it started off with just booking appointments. But then in the back of my head was like, Shenna, what is your mission? What's your passion? And it's to help other single women to be able to work from home. Because that was major to me. Because I could not find people to watch my kids while I was working. So I know women need to work from home. Mothers need to work if, they want to. So I started off with just me. I put an ad out and hired like maybe 10, 15 other women to help me book appointments for these other agents. And that's kind of how that came about.
Awesome. So I love it. That was like, I'm just tired of $8.25 an hour. Time to go to business for myself. So, okay. Yeah. So now you're the appointment setter. Fast forward, you end up getting hired with Lincoln Heritage. Yeah. Great company, right? Yes. Started off, lost everything. So like you went from successful appointment setting business. And obviously like the people look at business like, I'm a business owner. Like, right. Well, depending on the business, you don't have the same opportunity, right? So right. Your appointment setting business, had an opportunity to make some money, but obviously insurance a lot more.
Absolutely.
And you're transferring from one to the other, thinking you're gonna jump into the lot more. So like, what happened when you fell on your face?
Oh my, it was just hard. What happened was I was moving. I decided to move to another state. And by moving to another state, I was trying to overcompensate moving my kids out of the state. And try to get them involved in all these things, all these sports, and all these different activities. So that took away a lot of my time. So now I'm working part-time. And I didn't make any money. And so I didn't make any money for a couple of months. And when I say I lost everything, it just
don't take long. I lost everything many times. So
it doesn't.
I know it. You have an income and then it disappears.
Right.
Everything.
Right. And it would have been okay if it was just me. Mm-hmm. But I had my kids and, like I said, I already removed them from a home and jumping into over here and now losing it multiple times, twice actually. It was crazy. But at the end of the day, when it happened, I wasn't like, it didn't knock me out, only because I saw the end in mind. I already knew I was going to be successful. I knew I was going to be very well off. I knew I was going to help so many people. So when it happened, I told the devil, look, it's not going to take me out. I understand I'm going to lose it. That means I'm going to get something better. I have to replace those things to get something bigger and better.
Right. Absolutely. I love it. I love your mindset. Like, I know you're into personal development a lot. Were you always into personal development? When did that start?
Matter of fact, it started probably back in 2016.
2016.
So, the leadership over there did very well with making sure people were personal developed, mainly because of the industry that we're in. I mean, you got to have some skin in the game. You got to have some grit. You do have to be personal developed because you're dealing with so many things. You're dealing with clients, dealing with personal life and things that can happen, adversity, and it can take people out if you're not personal developed. But now, even with building a team, just learn how to deal with people. You have to have some type of personal development, making sure people want to follow you, making sure you're not like a Hitler type of leader, So.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, as my agents are growing and getting better, I'm like, man, I gotta keep feeding, right? You got to make sure you can still always pour into them. I can't just, sit on the couch and be like, all right, well, I'm making my money now and it's their turn. You got to always be able to feed. So I love that you're always feeding into people. Mm-hmm. So what was the turning point at Lincoln? Like, I know for me, right, I struggled too in the field in the beginning. And I remember I'm like, man, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be, right? This was supposed to be easy, right? They sell us this dream.
Yes.
And I realized, man, okay, this isn't easy. And I had to get my mind right and do some things. But I remember the turning point for myself. I remember hiring my first agent, Jen, who actually, because the whole thing is like I was producing, but like every person I hired, they didn't want to go to work, right? And I'm like, dude, if these people aren't going to do it, like how am I going to build a business?
Right.
And I remember Jen came out the gate swinging, writing apps left and right. And it like, okay, one person did this, I could get another person.
Right.
I could get another person. So that was like my okay, I got this moment. What was yours like?
Well, at first, what I was like to realize that I need to make sure that what I follow me and what type of person who can recruit me. And I typically recruit superstars only because that's who I see myself. But it started off fast, and it started off slow, and then it stopped, which was even worse. But it was okay. It was okay. I didn't really start recruiting until really my second year, because I was kind of told not to recruit, learn the business, and I get it. But I know what I know now is that shouldn't stop me from bringing somebody else on. So, but it was hard. Again, going with personal development. But I think having a great system, so I can always sometimes take me out of it, as long as they're following the system, as long as they're doing the things they need to do, it does tend to make it easier for an agent to be successful in it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I think, there's different models in insurance, and there's 1,000, people say insurance and they try to clump everything together, right?
Oh,
and it's like there's separate, multiple businesses, right. It's, selling P&C and final expense. It's a whole different world. Like it's not the same. Like, yeah, we both have an insurance license, but we're not in the same business, basically. But for us, it's simple. Like one product, one carrier. It's like, do you know how to work an iPad? So like for me to hear somebody like, oh, you got to wait 2 years before you recruit. I'm like, my whole thing is like, do you know how to work an iPad? Can you teach someone how to work an iPad?
Right.
Let's go.
It is simple. And I think anytime when an agent get a license, they need to start with something simple. One product. I think everything else, to be honest with you, is too far advanced for somebody who's brand new. So if you're going to get into the industry, you need to get final expense the most easiest way. It's simple. It's duplicatable. You can learn it really fast, and you can earn money fast and the long money as well. It doesn't have to take so much into it. And so I think being in the finance expense industry is the best thing for like a brand new agent to start. It is so simple. So that way you don't have to learn all these different products. It's one thing. Keep it simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're at Lincoln now, crushing it, right? You're a superstar at Lincoln.
Yes.
$500,000 a year. You got your $500,000 year ring.
Yes.
And something happened because you're not there anymore.
No.
Right? So like how did the progression of that happen?
Again, another vision. I saw, God said, Shenna, you're not going to be here. And honestly, I thought that was crazy. I thought it was going to be at Lincoln forever. That's where I started. I built a relationship with the leaders. I didn't think I was ever going to leave. It didn't make any sense.
Right.
It did not.
Yeah, for most people, $500,000, that's what they're trying to get to.
Right.
Right?
It did not. Like I said, it did not make any sense. But I saw a vision, and I knew that I was not going to be there. I knew it. It was so clear, but I was in denial. I was in denial. And what happened was I ended up going to a seminar in Miami. And that was like confirmation because they kept saying over and over that you're at the right season, but you're at the wrong place. And they kept saying, I'm like, Shenna, you cannot, they're not saying this. I was like, why I keep hearing that you're at the right season, but at the wrong place? And I just kept hearing it. And so eventually, because I was stalling, eventually I said, okay, I got to leave. I have to leave. And either I'm just going to stay and still be able to make more money and not having to worry about the agents, because the agents they weren't really making money as they should, like the amount of money I know they could have. And so I felt kind of bad that I was earning a lot and they were struggling and there was absolutely nothing I could do. And so I said, Shenna, if you're going to be about the people that you say you are, if you're going to be the savior, then you're going to have to give up. You have to give up and let something go so you're able to bring somebody else up. And I knew the person that I'm supposed to save was not in that location. I don't know who it was, who it's supposed to be. Oh, the amount of people, I just knew they was not going to be there. They were somewhere else. And so as crazy as it seemed, I mean, we left. And I knew if I can build something one time, I can build something 2 times, I can build something 3 times, I can build it any other time. So
you're like, I lost everything multiple times. I know how to get it back. So,
right.
So I love that about you. You're super detail orientated, right? so I love to hear obviously, right? Working with me wasn't your only option, right? You have lots of options on the table, lots of places you could work.
You definitely was not the only option.
Right? So what were you looking for in a company? What were you looking for in mentorship? What were you eliminating? Like, bring me through that whole process from the start to making the decision.
It was a lot. And even senior was not my first option. Again, I have to pay attention to like things that are simple. I had to pay attention to people personality because I do have to deal with whoever I'm dealing with. And they do have to deal with me. And I know my personality may not be the easiest, but I know when you're dealing with leadership, you don't want somebody who's just going to be like a yes person and okay with everything. You want somebody to kind of, pull the bulls by the horn a little bit. And so I was the one that I like to take chances, and I know what I was looking for. So, I mean, I interviewed a lot of people at senior. It just didn't make the cut. And I know who I like to deal with. I'm very particular, very, very particular, not just for me, but again, for the people that I wanted to lead. And some people just didn't make the cut. And it wasn't nothing necessarily against them. I just knew what I was looking for and what was going to help take myself and the other people to a whole nother level. And so just paying attention to you, like everything you said was genuine. I didn't hear any bad mouthing. You answered a lot of my questions, and I asked a lot of questions. I asked a lot, and I was asking a couple of times over and over again, different ways, just to see if you even gonna change something. I asked about your the month you was born, because I'm just like, I just need to know. I'll say, okay, he's a very caring type of person, people person. We kind of, our energies and like your work ethic match mine, and that's what I was looking for too. That's somebody who's going to help me take me to another level, not like I'm doing more than this person. I don't want to do more than you. I want you to do more so I can get to your level. Otherwise, I'm just where I'm at. So I was looking for somebody who was going to help me grow, and you had literally everything I was looking for. So,
well, thank you.
Are you welcome?
No, I definitely appreciate it. Like I said, it was definitely an honor. I remember our first phone call. I mean, definitely got your attention. And I remember, after I started looking at some stuff, I was on your YouTube channel years prior. And I saw a video. I think I found you on Facebook, and I messaged you, and crickets, right? I didn't get anything.
Oh yeah, well, I am. It's hard. It was so hard to recruit me. Matter of fact, you did out. It's hard to recruit me, and I know some people do that. Like, And I'm like that in life.
I was trying to support you. I wasn't trying to recruit you, right? I said, nice YouTube video.
You did say that. I'm a recruiter as well.
So it's it. Nice YouTube video.
I kind of know.
I didn't say anything about working with me.
I know you didn't. And I know. And I can appreciate that as well. But no, you did exactly what I looked for if I was going to transition, that there wasn't going to like chase me. I don't like to.
No, that's not you recruit people by providing enough value in their life that they realize that they're better off with you than without you.
Absolutely.
That's it. So, so came over here, absolutely crushing it. You're breaking records, right? Mm-hmm. I know your income. You fixed your income problem real fast, right?
Oh yeah.
You didn't have an income problem, but you did when you stopped.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, as soon as I stopped. Oh my God. As soon as you stopped.
But then it corrected itself really fast.
Oh yeah, real quick.
Which is awesome. And my favorite thing about you and Donaldo and everyone that we talked to ahead of time before the transition is you guys were so worried about your team.
Right.
Right. It wasn't like I. Right. Every question you had, like, how do you train new agents? How do you onboard a new agent? Bring me from the time an agent starts to the time it writes his policy. Tell me about the training. Send me the training. Send me your scripts. Like, you know what I mean? And everything, every question that you asked 12 different times in 12 different ways, it had nothing to do with you. It had to do with you providing a better opportunity for your agents. And I like what you said earlier, that you were doing well.
Right.
But the realistic matter is you wanted to be able to offer your agents something better. Right. You wanted to elevate them.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're being blessed so much. And that's why I like working with you guys. I mean, you guys are just like the perfect fit. Bringing in a large group, just like you have some fear, right? We have our culture over here as well. And we're like, all right, cool. Like, is this, because you worked really hard for what you had, I did too. And the last thing you want to do is bring over the group that messes up the culture. And you guys have done nothing but add to it. We're all working amazingly well, and we're about to break some serious records and do some amazing stuff.
Oh, it's about to be insane. Y'all better watch out. Y'all not with Senior Life in the Price group. Oh, y'all in the wrong team. Y'all on the wrong side.
Y'all on the Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I appreciate you. What, one thing that you're amazing at is taking somebody that's not licensed, getting them licensed, right? You do a really good job with that part. And then getting them paid fast. What are some tips for new agents getting started, somebody thinking about getting in the insurance industry, or maybe somebody trying to mentor agents that's just not having a good job mentoring agents? Could you help some of those people?
Just taking myself out of it. I like to ask people questions. First of all, why do you want to get into the insurance industry? What made you want to get into insurance? What's important to you? Is family important? Is money important? Is security? You want financial freedom? So really having conversations with people, I call it like the game plan interview. And I'm finding out their color, like what I mean by color, like their personality. What color stands out to you the most? I want to know your birthday. I want to know how much money you've ever earned. I want to know how much money you want to earn. I want to know about family, how many kids you have. And so how much money you really, truly want to make. And then when I break it down into really apps, and then apps and how many apps you need to do in a week. And so they make it more simple. Some people say first thing they come in, I want to earn $5,000. Like, you ever made $5,000 before? How much have you made? $1,500. Cool. Let me get you $1,500 plus. Let's start there. I don't want you going backwards. I don't want to put you in a worse situation that you came in. And so really just understanding who people are, because everybody's not about money. I'm a red. So I'm very money motivated. I'm very driven. Security is very, very important, where somebody who is like a blue, they're all about family. And so I talk to them more about what, our powerhouse is. We're very big about family, faith, family, and then work. So I'm paying attention to those. And so it's almost like everybody is kind of dissecting people just to fit them in a certain plan. Like, okay, this is going to work for you. What made this training work for you may not work for this particular person. So it really just depends on the person and kind of how I can get them to earning whatever they said they want to earn.
Awesome. You're definitely a people person. You're great with people. You got a definitely special skill. Do you feel like, you grew up with a lot of adversity like I did? Do you feel like that was something that made you who you are today?
Absolutely. I think if it wasn't for the situation with my ex-husband, I probably would never been in here in this in like the way that I went through things I went through. If I never married him, I'd never gone through like the difficult times. I think people who go through the most diversity end up working harder. They're the most successful because they have to work for it. And then it's a principle thing as well. I understand that, he said you can have anything and everything you deserve and desire, but you must practice the principles to get to the promise. You have to practice these principles. You have to go through, sometimes you have to go through these storms. Sometimes you have to go through, these things that happen in order for you to get to where you need to get to. Some people go through it, some people quit. But I definitely think the people who work the hardest, they get there because they know that it's so easy, it can be taken away. They know how hard it was to get there. And so that's why y'all would take advantage of this opportunity and not for granted.
Absolutely. Yeah, I used to be like, the things that happened to me in my past were like, they happened to me, like, why me? But now it's like, no, that happened for me. That helped me create a leader, become a better leader and be able to relate to more people.
Right.
Right. I feel like, if I came, from this rich family, like I wouldn't be able to help so many different people that the ones that need the help.
And
right?
People probably wouldn't relate to you either.
No.
Like people like to deal with people who they can relate to. Yeah. And so you're right. This is not why this is happening to me. Like, I know there's a reason for it. Like it's a reason for it. That's why things happen for a reason. I try not to question it. I try my very best not to question it. I laugh it off and say, okay, this is a test. Because you can't go to the next level unless you're being tested. It's almost like in school. Like you can't go to the next grade until you pass the test. And it's a test. This life is a test. And so every devil is a different level.
Absolutely. What's the future look like? Where's the goal? Like where are we going? What's the destination? Where's Miss Shenna Adams going?
Well, definitely over my goal is $1.5 million within this by 2023. $1.5 million. But not only that, but to bring 5 women to $250,000 and then 10 women to over $100,000 in the first 6 months in the business.
I love it.
So
I love it. You're absolutely killing it. And where's the best place if somebody on here is looking for you, wants to work with you, be coached, mentored by you, how can they find you?
Absolutely. Well, you can find me on Facebook at Shenna Michelle Adams or Instagram. I am Shenna Michelle. Or you can look on Powerhouse. Powerhouse has a Facebook page as well. It's just Powerhouse. And it's definitely the belief for me.
Awesome. Make sure you find Shenna Adams if you want some coaching, mentorship, just have a conversation. I'm sure she'll be glad to talk to you. This has been another episode of Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things with David Price.